But it's one thing to put him in the basement.
I know that. Yeah, I think so. I've seen a lot.
You're on. It's a lot. You know, thanks for joining. You're going to begin a evening with the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our United States Armed Forces during that country abroad. And all special guests here tonight, I'd like to welcome especially Commissioner Director Cool and Deputy Director Soloway. Commissioner Director, if you wouldn't mind leading us in the pledge of allegiance.
Where's that? Oh. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Vote all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Someone dropped off a copy of the Lambertville from the beginning of Corey L. Sperry to City Hall this week, written by Dr. Alfred G. Petrie. And I was reading through it, and I thought that it might be nice to begin the meeting with the first paragraph of his preface that was written in the late in 1949. And he starts, the manner in which the citizens of a community think is invariably reflected in the progress of their village, town, or city. That the people of the community have pride in its past, believe firmly in its present policies for good, and have confidence in its future, that community will surely move in the right direction. It's a nice way to start off, I think, meeting. We're going to begin this evening by swearing in new patrolman Sam Go ahead, say it. Praderitz, thank you. I tried to get it right, but I didn't. So come on up, please. Does council want to join me down? Travel over.
If you think it over, then maybe everybody could get like back.
Where?
Yeah,
Okay.
you let the council be back.
But back here? So
Behind you.
behind me, yeah.
Side you.
Okay. That's another.
Let's spell that.
I don't know. All right, let's here's how everybody was.
So.
All right, so you got this. Okay,
Okay.
you ready? All right, repeat after, so raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, so name,
I, Sam Fredericks,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully
impartially,
and impartially
and justly perform all duties of the office of patrolman
and justly perform all duties of the office of patrolman
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful town, so we have two officer orders down, it's a wonderful blessing to them and to Lambertville. So, oh yeah, you need to sign this off. Actually, don't sign that. It's. We're very happy now. Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, maybe they can like with them in the back.
You want to do closer? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good night. And he wasn't that, isn't it?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And now I have really the distinct pleasure to welcome Commissioner Director Cool and Deputy Director Soloway, who are here this evening to present video with a check for $40,000 as part of the municipal infrastructure grant program, which the county took this year. And really, we're incredibly grateful for it. You know, you wouldn't think that video equipment for pipes would make me weepy, but it actually does. I'm very happy to have this grant. You know, the city, the council, and everyone joins me in feeling a lot of gratitude. This work is important for us. We have a very we have a infrastructure system which is new in some places and old in a lot of places, and so having this equipment is going to really allow us to assess our system and make improvements and much needed improvements, I think, in some areas. So super grateful for it, and we do, as a matter of fact, have we're in the process of soliciting bid for through our cooperatives for this equipment. And I just got an email today with the pictures, and I'm looking to do a road trip with the director of department.
They're coming down.
Oh, they're coming to us, even better. So they're gonna bring the equipment down and we'll take a look at it and see. I'm very excited about that, and also about hopefully the prospect of sharing that with other municipalities. I think that these shared service agreements with municipalities, I know that's something that's been important to the county. It's definitely worked well for us with Frenchtown in particular, our construction office, and I think it's important to work with your neighbors, and my part of more than willing to do that. I think it's it shows a lot of generosity on the county's behalf and hopefully on our behalf, our neighbors. So thank you very much for come down, and we'll ask council to come down as well so that we can take a picture all together. Did you want to say anything?
Sure, I mean, it's always great to be in Lambertville. As I mentioned to you earlier, I was born in the medical center, so I knew Lambertville well when I was younger.
Yeah.
And spent many days at the boat club, and remember when this was a grocery store, and so a lot of things have changed, and Lambertville is really doing a great job.
Your order is ready to pick up.
So, our new era partnership that I announced at the beginning of the year, and this is one of the $1 million grant programs that all 26 municipalities have had applied, and we're given certain grants for certain things. And we're very happy that this will help Lambertville move forward with their infrastructure. This county is very important to you, I'm sure, and it's important to us in the county. We want to continue to work together with all our municipalities. That's the way we need to do it. If we all can work together, we can do great things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I have to say as well, I was director during IDA.
Yeah.
So I just came back and I came down Swan Street and it was like PTSD. I remember the shoveling and that one alley where everyone just had to put all their furniture. And then we walked up the street with Governor Murphy and that house that was displaced in a creek.
Yeah.
So this project is so important for the rest of the county as well, because we can't have that happen anymore. So hopefully this camera system will help you with your infrastructure, and we're pleased to provide this check to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. All right.
We can stand behind you.
Okay, yeah.
You want to
Terrible at this.
You want to pass?
Yeah.
Wait,
How about this one? If you have so there it is. All right.
Oh, yeah.
One more. Perfect. All right, Lindsay, did you get one?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much
Thank
again.
you. All
Good to
right.
see you.
Good to see you as
Enjoy the
well.
rest of the
Yeah.
evening.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, also, so that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks again. Good seeing you.
Cindy.
Moving on, next we'll, yeah, were there any questions? So we're not, we kind of answer, we did, release this September 9th meeting minutes for, for the result and, suggestions. Everybody have a chance to look at those minutes for the session. Right now, motion to adopt them, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, motion carries. The administrative report, there's a chance to look at the administrative reports. Yeah. Well, highlight a couple of things, last month in cannabis, transfer tax, the fee would be $18,817.10. In hotel tax, we received $18,747.48. Again, this has outpaced the hotel business by a few dollars. We had 33 permits issued in the construction office last month. Short removal transactions, we had 11,269 park removal transactions last month. That's a lot of parking. And for $47,847 in meter revenue, about $12,000 for selling homes. And just to show how big it had been over this beautiful weather, we had five traffic accidents on Saturday. The city.
Oh, my dragons.
They're great. So yeah, the city has been absolutely packed with people. I had an interview with the Wall Street Journal this week about Halloween, how it shapes towns and how it affects colonies. So hopefully I'll read about Lambertville and Halloween in the Wall Street Journal and coming that's all I have about the administrative report. The military questions I would entertain a motion to accept the administrative reports.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The motion carries. I'll open this to public participation. As I think everybody here has been here before. We ask you to step to the microphone unless you have mobility issues. State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes of uninterrupted time. Any questions or comments?
Hi, Paul Stevens, 39 Quarry Street. With regard to the resolution that's coming up to lower speed limits to make it safer, I fully support making things safer on 29, 179, everywhere in town. However, we can go ahead and pass this resolution, but it really won't make anything safer unless we actually enforce it. We do a lot of things around here, in terms of resolutions and ordinances that we've had, but then we fail to follow up and enforce that. And if we don't, it's the point of even putting the things on post and click on it. Thank you.
Good. Jeff Kittle, 33 Wilton Street. A couple of items I just wanted to mention. You know, that the round 4 housing numbers have come out. We're 39, and that means that's on top of the 28. And when you look at the community and you try to figure out how this is going to happen, it becomes even much more complicated. I know the numbers are going to be open to negotiations, and there's a lot of things that are missing, like environmental constraints and other things. But the one thing I'm going to mention is that the one piece of property in town that is the largest undeveloped piece, the 14 acres on the hill, is probably one of the most inappropriate places. And the reason I'm saying that is I also found out some more information. So not only is that site as a unlined, unclosed, unregulated landfill where we don't know where it ends and how far it goes, and we have a former factory where things were used and things are dumped and there's piles of debris all over and there's a fire and we have no idea how far the contamination from there goes. I was also talking to a friend of mine for a long time, Lambertville person, and she said up on the hill, where the ball fields was, that originally were orchards up there. Well, back in the day, orchards used arsenic for pesticides. They didn't have pesticides. And throughout New Jersey, it's a serious problem, arsenic soil contamination. So you add to that the steep slopes, the impact on stormwater, how we're going to get the stormwater from the hill to the river, The traffic impacts, the sewer impacts was 50,000 gallons a day hitting our main trunk line, how we will handle it. And the point is, it just becomes more and more of an albatross and not a solution. And I think this is a time where we have to move forward and come up with other sites and start working towards that. You know, we may not be able to get to all the numbers we need, but we need to at least make that effort, because if we don't make that effort, as you all know, time is running out. We have a year, maybe on round 3, we may have a little longer on round 4, but if we can't figure out round 3, how are we ever gonna get to round? And so I really urge you to move forward and come up with another plan, because this is not tenable. I mean, there's other issues going along with it, but just that alone. And then, also on top of that, 7 wells have been found to be contaminated. Every one of them is at a very high level, one of the highest found in a residential well in the state of New Jersey. Almost as high as what they found down by McGuire Air Force Base. And so you've got that issue and where that's coming from on top of it. And, now there's been money raised, and thank those who contributed for the people up there who couldn't afford to get well testing, but now 16 wells are going to get tested. So now we're going to get even more data, which may help us isolate where the source is coming from, or sources. So, we've got a lot on our plate, but we really got to get moving. Thank you.
Judy Gleason, 86 North Union Street. I just have to comment on 2 areas where there's sort of been a deafening silence. And one is, we still don't deal with, and Jeff sort of mentioned this in the affordable housing. There seems to not be a lot of support for 200 units on the Hill, and nothing seems to be happening, and nothing seems to be happening that would include the people in town as to other options. And I think that's a bad idea. I don't understand it. And it doesn't seem to be a good direction, since ultimately I believe that this council cares about what the townspeople are concerned about and are thinking about. So I think it's a little bit late now, but you need to do something. You need to say something. Something needs to happen on this. Second item that's, again, a deafening silence. The changes in the bridge construction schedule. I get it. There's a problem with the bridge. What this is going to do during this season for our town really needs, I think, council and the mayor to decide that we're going to actually become at some level involved in helping our businesses with this whole thing. I don't know how we managed to get the pedestrian walkway. I don't think it took place by this body. I know there are people on this body who cared about it, who tried to do things, but I don't think that was ultimately what happened. But luckily, Pennsylvania and some other people made it happen. Right now, our city will suffer terribly if we don't help do something about the closures, necessary closures, not arguing that, but something needs to happen. And the silence from people in this room is never good. I'm not asking you to take the responsibility to carry people across the bridge by yourselves. I'm just saying we got to do something. And the silence is not a good look for you. It's not a good look for the town. And it's a very bad thing for the people in our community who are trying to maintain businesses in the face of everything they've dealt with so far. And I really hope, when I look at the agenda each time and I see that none of this stuff is on it, I'm like, well, really that plugged in. I'm not really that smart on this stuff. And yet I keep wondering, why are we not hearing it? So please, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Just one or two thoughts before David speaks. So we have done some things with the business community. I have talked to the Chamber of Commerce. I've been working with Carolyn Gabois. We will be coordinating on putting A-frame signs around the town to just remind people of different side streets where they can shop. We've also talked to them about a joint letter, a joint proposal to the business community from the city and the chamber to encourage businesses to stay open late on Fridays or Saturday nights. So I'm working on that right now. So, you know, to the extent that we're having conversations and I'm available for the chamber, for the businesses, I have had business owners come into office hours, and talk about these things, so I'm sensitive to them. You know, we've done a couple of things. I'm also made several requests to the Bridge Commission to try to give us dates in January when the 2-week closure is going to occur as soon as possible, so the businesses can plan, either for renovation work or vacations or whatever they want to do during that 2-week period. So I'm very sensitive to the fact that the bridge work continues, and you know, I'm open to ideas from your business community or residents of ways in which we can foster you know, more visits to the city. Certainly, you know, right now, in speaking with the Wall Street Journal, one of the things we did was to go back and look at our parking revenues. You know, parking revenues for October for the last 2 years were as strong, if not stronger, than our summer revenues. So I think that and traffic bears out. You know, over the last few weeks when we have warm weather, certainly, you know, I haven't talked to the business community about their bottom line, but certainly there are many people coming to town on weekends and during the week. So I'm open to ideas. So if you've got anything specific that you think would be helpful, let me know. Thanks. Did anyone else want to have comments on either of those?
I would just add, Judy, I completely agree with you. I think we do need to do more. I was talking to a couple of the business owners. I don't have the solution for it, but I think that's something we can certainly discuss more. You know, the thing that I know we've done in the past is free parking, although some of the business owners have said that's not as effective because some of the employees park in the free parking, and so it doesn't really, so, you know, we obviously, we want to do more, and I think we need to have more discussion with the business community, so thank you.
Yeah, and I talked to a few folks too, we were talking about putting together a list also to ask the Bridge Commission for perhaps as well, just a couple of things that we could do. One of which maybe if they're interested in making a request for a holiday, you know, shopping program, like, you know, on social media, or, you know, come to Lambertville radio or whatever, you know, whether or not that they would contribute to that kind of a program, and maybe getting together, which we're going to try to this week, but we had to kind of put together that letter, you know, go there and along with all the other things that we've been doing. So we certainly look forward to that bridge opening up, you know, next year, and recognize, you know, the hardship and, you know, try to work around it.
Dave Bird, 255 Brunswick Avenue in Lambertville. And looking at tonight's agenda, I see that the ordinance 24-2024 of the stormwater management plan that was accepted by the mayor and council, I believe. All right, is now put on hold because we haven't, questions are being raised, or, you know, suggestions from the county, who obviously is working for us and with us. All right. And I guess I question why during the review process of creating it, didn't that go to the county, all right, to see if they have any insight, because it may get us a better product, and I think that's important. And the second thing, and I don't think it's going to make any difference, but has anyone communicated with the very friendly Delaware River Joint Toll Bridge Commission about, all right, providing some kind of accommodation to those people who have to go from Lambertville or into Newhall via the toll bridge, okay, which is going to be an expense. All right, it's for 2 weeks. All right, it's not a day or two. All right, and they may just say you can go up to Stockton. All right, but I think it's worth a shot. All they can do is say no.
Thank you. In regards to the stormwater ordinance, we did in fact send that to the county, I believe, after the first reading or before the first reading?
After the first.
After the first reading, and unfortunately, they were busy and didn't get their comments back to us, so we had already adopted the ordinance. And you know, their only commentary is noted kind of in the amendments. there was one thing that we, well, I'll talk about it when we get there, but they did in fact, review it and provide input. And the toll bridge, I'm certainly happy to check on that. Yeah, I'll have to. I'm happy to look into that.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Jonathan Laurie. I'm on behalf of the Lambertville Chamber of Commerce. And as we heard from our speaker, Ms. Judy, we equally remain concerned about the impact of the bridge closure. I know we've expressed that before at prior meetings. And at the same time, we wanted to express our gratitude to the council for allowing us to put up the sign for those lesser huge streets that we have in Lambertville. I think that could be, there's no easy answers to the problems that we're facing. So whatever we can do, we're trying to do to address the decline that we may see in some of the business. And this is a really important time of the year, this holiday season. So we're also open to collaborating with anybody and listening to any ideas that can be had to kind of address the impact that we have on the businesses. Also wanted to mention that, the bridge closure has affected the turkey trot that we have, the annual turkey trot. It's obviously a lesser important thing, but it is important to us. And we appreciate working with the mayor and Lieutenant Brown working with us and in keeping that going this year, because we had to make some adjustments to how we ran the event. And finally, one of the things we're doing with the chamber and the businesses in town is there's a Halloween decoration contest. So if you see those, there's a QR code you can vote. We already had about 300 people vote so far, and it helps bring some publicity to that. And obviously, we have a great Halloween event all the time in Lambertville. But yeah, I mean, anything we can to just kind of drum up business for the business community is important. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. My favorite window was number 16. But don't tell anybody. Yeah, anything that we can do. We're here. I'm in City Hall all the time, as everybody knows. We're more than happy to listen to ideas and spitball or whatever we can do. Thanks for that. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to offer some comments or questions? Do you have anybody online? There's one visitor online. Thanks for being here tonight, whoever you are. All right, I'll ask for a motion to close the public comment period, please. So moved. You have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of closing the public comment period, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Following resolutions on the consent agenda are considered routine and shall be enacted as one motion. Should any member of the city council be further discussion of any item, that item shall be removed and discussed separately. Let's talk briefly on all comment about the speed limits. The speed limit on 29 South, this question has gone all the way back to when the traffic calming project, and for some reason that's unknown to me and hasn't been they never completed the speed study. And certainly, I was a big advocate of, and I pushed until we got a crosswalk on 29 in the south part of town. As you know, it's got 31 houses on the east side. I have seen children crossing 29. So, once the crosswalk was in, the natural question for some of the residents, who, to whom I have to say thanks, Satira, about Marco in particular, really making sure that we're pushing for reductions of speed. I brought that crosswalk, and at a 35-mile-an-hour car coming, it's almost like the crosswalk doesn't matter, right? You really have to be paying attention. So I'm very much in favor of that speed reduction, and I believe Lieutenant Brown and I have spoken about this also about the speed reduction, and credit to the DOT for engaging us on the speed reduction on Route 179, which I hope to see, which will reduce the speed from Grant Avenue down to the light to 25, which will, reduce the risk at that crosswalk as well. The added improvements that were made for safety considerations there a couple of years ago. So, I think that there's a real willingness on behalf of the city to make sure that our streets are safe. I'm confident that the police will be out looking at that area, especially while it's transitioning through the new speed limits. Did anyone on the council have any questions about anything on the consent agenda? I would ask for a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye, thank you. Bill list, everybody took a look at the bills this week, there's a big check this week, we paid the county, forget how much, but it was quite a lot in tax and library. I saw some very big checks, I signed a check for $286,000 for the new street sweeper, which is gorgeous. Who wants to pay the bills? I'll make a motion. Second. All right, let's do a roll call, please. Cindy?
Sure. Councilwoman Kaminsky?
Yes.
Councilman Ahmad?
Yes.
Councilman Stegman?
Yes.
Council,
I'm sorry. Did you want to vote on the bills list?
Oh, that's right. I shall abstain on the bills.
Thank you.
Council President Lambert?
Yes.
Mayor Neville?
Yes. Right, moving to ordinances this evening, first reading of ordinance number 22-2024. Can everybody hear me? Well, sure, okay. This is an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code 2014, Chapter 5-11 to include provisions to manage short-term rentals. So these are some amendments that were discussed at the October 10th work session, and suggested changes are highlighted in there. And thanks again to both of you for this work. Are there questions from the council about this?
No, one thing I thought of, it doesn't affect this ordinance, but just one thing I wanted to bring up, I think, you know, how we have the nice thing on the website when you want to contact council. I think it would be good if we had something on the website for residents, if they did have an issue with an Airbnb, to report it that way. So if we could put that on the website, I think that way it would go to all the right people, we'd have it documented, and, you know.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well, thanks.
Easier to track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I've said recently, or a couple of times, I have not had any complaints in the last 4 or 5 months. So that's good.
I've had some that I've encouraged them to reach out to the city. The one on Arnett Street, apparently has had lots of issues, but they haven't reported to the city. And I said, well, unless you report it, we can't do anything about it. We've got to be able to document it.
Yeah.
So,
Haven't had anything since we initially implemented the ordinance.
Yeah, and we're on pretty good in terms of, I mean, we know all of them now, right? Regular contact, and so that's it. I think it's good. All right, may I have a motion to some first reading ordinance number 22-2024, which allow the public hearing on February 23rd, 2024.
so move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Ordinance number 23-2024, an ordinance to amend Lambertville City Code 2014 to correct the definition of automatic unlimited vending machine.
2 of them carried forward, and we should have deleted one, so just really took the most simple. But if you want to change it to the other, that's okay too. We just need one definition.
Questions or a motion?
So moved.
Second. Please say aye. Aye. This motion carries. Next is ordinance 24-2024, and this is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 06-2024, Article 15, stormwater management, specific to the provisions for stormwater control of the city of Lambertville. So as I just briefly explained, we sent it to the CAC unit between the Garden Valley the first reading and returned with some minor comments after the second reading. Some of those are substantial enough to introduce those as such amendments. That basically it was the county asked us to include a definition which was not there. And in the transcription from one segment, one part of our existing ordinance to the new ordinance, half a paragraph didn't sort of move over with the rest of the document, and that's been corrected. The rest of it is all just letters and numbers and formatting. So, questions about any of that? All right, I'll make a motion to use this ordinance 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. The public hearing for this will be scheduled on November 21st, 2024. second reading ordinances. Ordinance number 117-2024. This is an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code 2014, Chapter 7, traffic, adding section 7-17 valet parking. Before we open this up to comment, I want to make a note that there's something that we did not put in the ordinance, and so I'm happy to accept a motion to include that, and then we can discuss it.
I'll make a motion to make the following change to include the R2 zone in the ordinance as a zone that would also be included in this licensing ordinance. So,
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, so we're voting on a motion to amend this ordinance, which will, well, let's vote on the motion first. All those in favor, please say aye. Right. So what just happened here, basically it said we forgot to add the R2 zone district to the ordinance. We want to make sure that any valet that wish to operate or are already operating in the R2 district are fall under the authority of this ordinance. So what we're going to do here tonight is we're not going to have a public hearing. We're going to consider the public hearing on November 21st, 2022, which we will then do. Is it technically the second reading, John, or is it just?
Yes, yeah, it'll be the second reading.
All right, so the second reading and public hearing will be scheduled for this on November 24th, 2020.
Second reading of the amended ordinance.
Second reading of the amended ordinance, thank you. Next is ordinance number 19-2024, the ordinance will amend the Lambertville City Code Board of Health. That includes this ordinance is amended to include, but it's not limited to the description of the level of licenses to include food trucks and mobile vendors, and to amend the license fees to match the level of licenses in the second late fee. Look at any questions from the council on subject public hearing. Okay. Is there anybody in my room who would like to speak to this ordinance? How about our student person online? No? Okay.
No, they left us.
Oh, okay. Well, once again, thank you, Lauren. So next, we should close the public comment period, please. Edward? Please.
Second.
All in favor, close the public comment period, please say aye. Aye. Is there any questions from council? I would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-2024 second reading, final approval.
Sean.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, you.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinance 20-2024, it's an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code Chapter 7 traffic section to stop intersection to have four-way stop to York and North Franklin streets. So we talked about this last time. This is an intersection that has a high rate of confusion and accidents, and this is a perfect place in town for a four-way stop, especially for cars who are using it as a cut through to avoid traffic lights, on Bridge Street and Humbridge Street. I'm going to open this up to the public for any comments or questions.
As someone who uses that cut through regularly, I'm actually very glad to have the four-way stop because it's always a little dicey trying to make that left onto York.
Yeah.
So.
So does anybody have to room? I'll ask for a motion to close the public comment period, please.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public comment is closed. Now I would ask for a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-24 on second reading, granting final approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Next is ordinance number 21-2024. It's an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code 2014, Chapter 2, Article 9, Department of Health, Welfare and Housing, Social Services, and Public Assistance. So I noted last time, this transfer is required by the state of New Jersey, transferring all the city services to the county of Poverty. Remember, there's only one or two municipalities up in the state that had its own program, public assistance program, and for whatever reason they decided that it should move to the county. So we are prior to this. And I was just making a note, again, that Bambi's been just a marvel, incredible support and breadth of knowledge and compassion for the residents of the city for a very long time. And she will continue to help with whatever transition people need until the end of the year. So I'm going to open this up to the public for comment or questions. Okay. I don't see no one.
Judy Gleason, 86 North Union Street. It just occurred to me, people who have been able to see our people here in this town without having to yet travel, how will they travel to the county? Do we know? I mean, if you don't have a car, or can't drive, or you're blind, or whatever your situation is, do we know how that will seamlessly occur?
I don't know that it seamlessly occur. I think the link is available. And Bambi may have other suggestions for people that we she and I haven't specifically addressed that question. I'm happy to talk to her about, but I think the link or neighbors or.
There's also, there's the free ride program that a lot of residents are.
Oh, yeah, the Drive program is not as well populated as some people would like it to be, but the link, I know, you can do things with the link, but you have to really be able to set your times and do your stuff and it's not an easy thing. So I'm just urging, I'm not objecting, I'm just saying, perhaps in doing this, you as a body could try to make it work better than each individual trying to figure it out.
Maybe come up with some type of a plan.
Cause they won't know how to do
Well,
it.
Well, I'm talking about it is just something in writing that we could make available to people who need.
I think so. I was just.
So-
You know that.
So we kind of touched on this, I think, well, when we introduced this, right, and we talked about it. And it sounds like Judy's comment is well placed, because there's gonna be a tremendous gap in how people retain the services, how they get to the service, right? And, it may be worth considering keeping Bambi on in some sort of facilitation or liaison role to help with that, so that people, get some direction and she can make arrangements or help them make the arrangements, because the link is extremely limited in its services in this region, in Lambertville. It's very limited. And it has certain stops, and that's fine, but maybe the county should give us improved link support to help people get to the services that they're going to need once they take the service over from us. People have to get to them.
I think it would be good for, I'm happy to do this for me or somebody to talk to Bambi about how many clients she has and what maybe their individual needs. Do you know how many clients she has?
I don't remember, but we've already sent all of that information to the county. And Bambi has already met individually with her clients. And some of them have already started to call the county. They've been encouraged to do that. We actually had a homeless person on Tuesday that came. And because we were transitioning everything to the county, they called the county and they were very successful and very helpful to this gentleman. So, and I know a couple of the clients when they came in did tell Bambi they've already called the county. I do think keeping her on at minimum until the end of December will really be helpful, so that she can help with any problems that they may have with the county. She's really worked hard with them all and has worked and called the county and emailed the county, and she's, been working with Chris Legier and Greg, I don't remember Greg's last name, but, she's been really working for the past, because, you're finding out about it in September, but she found out about it much earlier in the year. So she's been working on that transition.
And maybe a reasonable thing to do would be to have Bambi to just write the council memo about kind of, you know, what the transition looks like for her clients, how many she has, and what are some of the potential obstacles, that kind of thing, and then you would have a better sense of what might be happening.
The person who's running this for the county, might they, or could they be contacted about some schedule when they are gonna be in town, so people can see them?
They don't come to town, their clients have to go to the council.
No, I know that. I know that, but in during this transitional point, if can the county person come to the municipality to work with clients that have problems getting to the county?
So Danny's still working, so.
No, after Bambi.
Oh, yeah, and we can certainly investigate it. I think it would be good to know what we're talking about in terms of how many clients she has and how many they may have.
You know,
Transportation issue.
Yeah, it's just similar to when, for a while, one of our representatives would make office visits here to meet with constituents. So I'm thinking, well, maybe we can use that same metric and have set up a schedule where the county person actually comes down to the municipality and is available to people.
Sure. Happy to.
Yeah.
I do think that just the one thought of just in transitioning, you know, that her availability after the first of the year, because, you know, there could be hiccups or whatever, or to be able to understand how that's gonna work, you know, or who is going to handle that. Someone comes to the city as opposed to the county, and, you know, we don't just say, oh, you know, go to call the county and door, but someone who is knowledgeable and can help fill that gap, because there will be a little gap. I would imagine, and I think that we will need to, perhaps in her wrap-up memo, but we're gonna need to know how do we access the emergency fund or the trust, or how that's going to work. It would be nice to have that outlined so that we have that information for people in general. And I thought that it might be wise to keep Bambi on OEM, since OEM is where, you know, so if there's a fire at 1 AM, you know, that there, we have the ability to use Bambi for placement, because, you know, the issue always was is that a hotel doesn't take, and this happened, of course, during Ida before, doesn't take a purchase order. So, and then, you know, you can't be using personal credit cards. So do we keep gift cards to do that? Because we shouldn't use anyone's credit card to reimburse them, but sometimes at 1:30 in the morning, you have to put them in a hotel. So I know I was actually at the league meeting on Friday, and I was talking to somebody about this, and they were saying that what they did, and I don't know if it's a good idea or not, gift cards to kind of fill that gap or do something, but there's different ways to fill the gap because of that.
Mayor,
We have
Beginning of the year,
key cards, and we do have a procedure for the use of the emergency fund. It's in place that with mechanisms that allow the director of social services, but there's also backups, right? About that.
So when the family's not here, and if I need a hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, what was that person do? Like, did they?
It's been a while since I looked at the procedure.
no, I haven't looked at it either, but it would all go through the police department.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
we can
Well,
certainly talk about it.
but, you know, so it's a way to handle it easily without, you know.
And you know, Bambi isn't full-time right now, so
Right.
I wanna say about a year ago, she started printing out the applications, and when people come in, we give them the application. We do have a couple things to resolve. We need to know what to do with them after they fill them out and send them in. And so we've all discussed sitting down and trying to come up with, you know, a plan to finalize some of this.
Good.
And I will say, if somebody comes into the clerk's office or into City Hall and has an issue, I mean, Lindsay was fabulous with this guy, you know, right away, pulled up exactly what he needed and saw that he had a phone to call and make those arrangements.
and they were lovely. He was happy when he left.
Hey, as long as, we're gonna have a
Yeah.
direction and, it's kind of nice to know.
Why don't I send that to the council, everybody can take a look at it, I'd be, I think it's a perfect time to revisit it. And you're so close to City Hall, maybe we'll make you have a check, right?
That's right. Hey, I can get you out of hell, one more thing. And he used iPod.
And take it off. Okay, I think we, need to close the public comment period on this ordinance, so we have a motion to do that. Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And so unless there are any further comments from the council, I would ask for a motion to adopt ordinance 20-2024 on second reading, granting final approval.
So, there is for motion.
That's the motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Don't have too much in the way of updates. I put a number of things in Lambertville Matters today. I'll just go through a couple of things. In particular note, this week, Cindy and I, and Marianne Borge and, Lauren Kovacs met with, Christy Pollock to discuss the Holden Park restoration. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, so the wetland delineation is complete, archaeological cultural resource investigation, so that's the archaeological study that was done, that's been put on the website. It's a fascinating read. We've got 900 objects found in holes all around the Holcomb House, everything from a Bakelite ring to a 19th century nail, so all kinds of great stuff there.
And don't forget the wooden dentures.
Yeah, the wooden dentures, yeah.
George must have.
GW, yeah, whittled in, and made of cherry, right?
Yeah.
The hydraulic and the hydraulic and the hydraulic modeling's done, and 60% of the engineering plans have been drafted. So this is exciting, and as soon as we have the kind of full plans to share with the public, they're great. They're big, wonderful plans. We'll get those on the city website. As I said, the archaeological study is on the website under the Holcomb Park page. Good reading, and so that's coming along. November 2nd, we will have a trail dedication for Brentwood. So that will be the Gene Street entrance of the trail, and we'll encourage everybody to come to that. Climate action plan workshop is on the 14th. If you can come, that would be great. And please let me know. The vulnerability assessment for the city will be complete by then. I just had a meeting with the consultants today to look through the beginnings of the presentation. There'll be several important maps that people will want to see, including late century flood modeling here in Lambertville, as well as similar maps of interest. So I would encourage people really to come to that. It's going to be an important evening. The budget hearings are on November 7th in this room from about 9 o'clock in the morning till they're done. Those hearings are conducted annually. We're invited to attend. There's no public comment period during those hearings, but certainly the department heads can be made available to anybody who has a question about a particular element of the budget, or I'm just more than willing to get answers for anybody who's interested and who attends those hearings. They're on Zoom as well.
Yes.
Yes, so they'll also be available virtually. And then just lastly, affordable housing. Yes, we got our numbers. I met with Councilman Lyde, Kelly Grant, our attorney, Michael Sullivan, and Andy Lane. That's on Wednesday morning to kind of have the first discussion about what that means. Clark and Henselane will draft a general memo to explain it for the council and for the public, and that should be out in the next week or two. Do you want to hear anything to say about that?
Only that we also have been discussing the affordable housing committee would, pretty close to being able to move forward with that, so.
Yeah, that will start in January though. There's still a fair amount of work to do for that, and we need have some more internal discussions, I think, about it, because I'm not necessarily sure that I agree with all of the recommendations made by and we haven't talked about those yet, so stay tuned. It's definitely gonna be an important, part of our work next year. That is, I think that's about all I have, in terms of announcements, and then correspondence and, JCP&L, notice of review and approval of the deferred balances related to an adjustment of societal benefits, charge clause, it's file tab. No idea what that means. Okay, but it's there.
No, but if anybody wants to see it.
If anyone wants to see it,
Yeah.
It's
I'll send it.
available. And I think I mentioned, we got the street sweeper, super happy about that. And also the construction at the garage is coming along really fast now. Sheet rocking is done in the, great room. All the windows are in, they're gonna be painting the entire garage, we had some money left over for the construction work, so it's gonna look very steady fairly soon, so pleased about that. The culture hours, Saturday, November 2nd, and Saturday, November 16th, from 9 to noon, and Wednesday, November 20th, from 3 to 5. And then we'll conduct the second and final public participation session of the evening.
Paul Stevens, 39 Quarry Street. Had a comment, like to the short-term rental, I hate to burst your bubble, but, I am going with the Airbnb front the Creek Committee Sunday night, they were out loud until after 3 o'clock in the morning when I called the police. And, they came and quieted it down. I want to thank the police department for seeing me. Yeah, I wasn't the only one they called, so I do nothing about trying to tell you that. Because I need to shut down now. I need to come talk to you a few days later. So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, something up there where we can go in after the fact, but we can kind of go in the police if I'm having problems with them.
Well, I think that's absolutely a great idea, you know, under constant line of communication with the police occasionally. You know, we don't always get, occasionally there's a drop in communication, so.
Well, I think the biggest issue, if I can speak there, please, because we don't get, we get called for a noise complaint, but we don't get notified it's the Airbnb, so we get called for noise complaint, you go quiet them down, you take their information, and then clear from it, we don't, I don't think we have will not be our place to be at, do you rent here, do you, own the place, whatever it might be, so, that wouldn't be a question we ask, so that's, but I think your option of putting something on the website, I think that would solve the problem.
That's interesting, and this is something that we should talk about, because I believe in the ordinance, we have or in terms, maybe with policy, I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance, that we have committed to keeping a list of those addresses at the police station. So that the police would have those, and the emergency numbers, right? So if somebody calls at 2 o'clock in the morning, and says, I can't get into my house, you can, then you would know it's an area.
Right, so unless you have a computer system that can, like for us, be able to say, I don't know the bed and breakfast or the Airbnb that you have, but to link up to every call that we had and say that it would be is or is not, or even do a check on that, I think it might monthly reports, whatever it might be, 800 some calls that I get, that the computer, if there's computer generated where it would automatically go to the computer and say, flag it as being an Airbnb. I think that would be, that would be something easily done, but in this case, we don't have that capabilities at this time anyway.
Okay, point taken. So, we'll encourage people to, and I'll put it in Landfill Matters as a reminder. People should contact the city clerk or myself directly, with any concerns, because I have no concern calling, no worries calling an Airbnb or a short-term rental owner, none whatsoever.
So. Yeah, we should put something in place where one of the calls, I don't know whether the police makes or if someone makes this follow-up calls to the B&B owner and say, hey, we just responded to a call. And does this person who owns this from to B&B know that this happened?
Well, I'll follow up
Right.
with Mr. Stevens on Monday about this and I'll reach out to the owner.
Yeah.
Because because in the ordinance, there is a way to cure this. If they have more than several in a row, then they lose their they can lose their license.
Right.
So if we don't, if the police don't know, and we don't know, then it doesn't get.
I think it's gonna be too hard for the police to do that, though, and I think we're gonna have to check at the end of the month when we go through the log to see the addresses and see if they match up with the Airbnb. That's probably, the only way we can do it unless we get new software, which I don't think we're gonna be spending the money doing that.
And it seems like there may be a legal issue potentially.
No, I think the best thing to do is to call the police if you have a noise complaint, that's the appropriate action to take, but also follow up a day or so later if it's at night, follow up the next day with the city, so the city can allow that, because Councilman is right, there is, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but there is
Right.
some number
Yeah.
of violations in the ordinance that could impact the license for the following year, so.
Yeah, I think it's 3. So yes, all right, I'll make sure that that's broadcast, we'll put it, we'll send out an announcement.
Put a link up on the website, like you suggested earlier, it'd be a real good idea, so it's just easy to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're happy, I just know I should,
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for that. Was it, I forget what are we doing? Oh, we're public, yes. Worried about ordinance, can we do it there?
Jeff Fiddle, 33 Wilson Street, a couple of things as you move forward on the affordable housing. I mean, I've gone through the rules a little bit, and the law itself, just they had taken out from the previous co-laws on vacant land, removal of environmentally sensitive areas. There's actually a bill by Senator McKeon to restore that. So you should be looking, when you're talking to the experts on why do we get this number, because my understanding in reading it is that we don't have a lot of vacant land, and what we have is constrained. Though in this round, they are talking about, because of towns are getting a higher number because they have gotten wealthier, their median income has gone up, and that might be another reason for it. But if you look at the 28 that we have to do plus this, we're talking about almost 500 units, almost 400 units of housing potentially, if we have to do builders around it. Or as we call it, inclusionary zoning, depending on which side of the fence you're on, because the 28 doesn't go away, so we have the 28 plus the 39. And, for a town this size, and with the flooding issues and the constraints and the slopes and the streams and everything else, so it's a fairly large number to try to figure out how to do in a community. And so, again, I think it's something to talk with, professionals about how to actually see if there's basically movement to lower numbers, because I know there's supposed to be a process that starts. And by the way, the number 39, you might want to bet on, there's about 50 towns, I wouldn't say quite that many, about 30 towns and 39. It seems like almost every town is either 39, 174. It's kind of interesting. Their methodology, lottery game it.
Helen Pettit, 6 Buttonwood. On the matter of the stormwater ordinance, I just want to highlight the fact that it's only as good as the enforcement. On the 3 houses that I renovated on Buttonwood Street, all went through DNR review. All of them, I improved the amount of open land, so there was less runoff. But there was no enforcement, and so one of those houses is now completely back to total coverage of the lot. And DNR has no enforcement capability, so that's where we are. Everybody in town is paving whatever driveway they have and putting patio brick or whatever on their backyards so that they don't have to mow it or garden it anymore, and it's a big problem. So we're only dealing with developments, major and minor stuff. Without inspection and enforcement, you might as well not bother.
Well, that was something that we talked a lot about, creating something that was going to be enforceable and realistic, right? I mean, we don't know, we don't see what everybody does in their backyard all the time, right? But anything that's going to trigger, construction permit for a small deck or anything we know about, certainly, we'll be able to enforce it, but, otherwise, a lot happens.
So it may be an education issue. We just have to educate people.
Yeah.
Putting us all under one.
Met with a couple of people from the resilience team this week, and it's all about education, and we're going to continue to work on educational efforts. In the next year, we've already set some goals for possibly establishing a subcommittee of the environmental commission to do. We've got a lot. We want to be working on resilience matters, and education is really where it starts, because we have 4,000 individuals in a small space, and so in order to make an impact, you really need to get as many of those individuals thinking, the right way to minimize things. It can't just be about large development. It's got to be a sea change in what happens to people. And when people see the vulnerability assessment, they're going to understand that we're under really incredibly serious threats in the latter part of the century here on the flat of in the flat of Hammerville. So
maybe something on, as we get rolling on this, on Lambertville matters, and just do bullet points and highlight them, don't put the whole thing up there, because but just to inform the public that there's now regulations about impervious surface, and if you plan on doing X, Y, and Z, you have to do certain things.
right. Motion to close the public comment period, please.
So moved.
I said, can it?
Right. Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate seeing all of you and the conversation. That's finished. And to adjourn, I thought a little treating people, that would be good. I should tell a few stories, but I have promotion. Let's just have a meeting that ends at 8 p.m. Yeah, motion to adjourn, please. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
That's your right.